Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things. Well, I got your attention. It's Monday morning. It's May 4th. And we're in May. Can you believe it? Well, Julie Andrews, who cares if she did a better job than me? She said these are a few of my favorite things. You have favorite things. I have favorite things. I can honestly tell you that my favorite thing is the gospel of Jesus Christ. And the reason it is because it deals with the biggest problem of my life, and that is my sin and my selfishness and my desire to have my own way. That is so wrong. And it has cost me so much. But Jesus Christ came and he died for my sin. A perfect life, he paid for my sin. He rose from the dead. He ascended into heaven. All of it was done with me in mind. All of it was done with literally taking my place. He died to pay for my sin. He rose from the dead to defeat my sin. He ascended into heaven in order to make sure I get there one day. So Jesus Christ has dealt with my entire sin problem through his gospel. Therefore, it is my favorite thing. In Philippians chapter 3, verses 12 through 14, the Apostle Paul sharing his testimony, and he comes to his issue of continuing to grow as a Christian. And he says, I have yet need to grow. I'm not perfect. And he says, one thing I do in order to grow. Let me read it to you. He says, I don't mean to say that I have already achieved these things or that I have already reached perfection, but I press on to possess the perfection for which Christ Jesus first possessed me. No, brothers and sisters, I have not achieved it, but I focus on this one thing, forgetting the past and looking forward to what lies ahead. I press on to reach the end of the race and receive the heavenly prize for which Christ, through God, is calling me. Well, I like that. He says, I remember one thing. What is the one thing Paul said was helpful for him to continue to grow? One thing, not 10 things, not 5 things, one. Forgetting that which lies behind, forgetting the past. Oh, he had a huge past. I have a past. You have a past. And boy, our enemy, Satan, he likes to remind you of your past. And if he can get you and me to focus on our past, he can cause you and me to not continue to grow in our current development as a Christian. Jesus has completely paid for my past. So it's not just a mind over matter to forget my past. It is true to the gospel. He has paid for it. Why wouldn't I forget it? He has washed it away. Why wouldn't I forget it? In fact, he said, I have buried your sin in the deepest sea. That is an illustration to tell us he doesn't focus on it. Why would I focus on it? It keeps me from moving ahead when I do. Oh, you and I need to set our past behind because the gospel has already moved it out of the way. Well, Julie Andrews closes out her song by saying, when the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favorite things. I don't have a dog problem, so I don't have a dog bite. I don't have a bee problem, so I don't have bee stings. But I sure do have a Satan problem and a past problem, and he likes to remind me of my past. And so guess what I do? My favorite thing is to remind myself and Satan that Jesus Christ has paid for my sin, and he has washed my past as white as the snow and removed it so I don't have to remember it anymore. Let's make progress together based on the good news, the gospel of Jesus Christ.